Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans and scandal chasers across the world, buckle up, because the quietest superstar in NBA history has just been caught in the loudest storm of his career. Kawhi Leonard, yes, the silent assassin, the two-time Finals MVP, the man who built his reputation on stoicism and surgical dominance on the hardwood, is now at the center of a scandal so explosive it makes Donald Sterling's downfall look like a warm-up act. And tonight, it got worse, much worse, because Kawhi Leonard, the face of the Los Angeles Clippers, has just been arrested, his California mansion raided by federal authorities, all tied to an illegal financial scheme that could tear down his career, wreck the Clippers organization, and forever stain his so-called clean legacy. This isn't just about basketball. This is about corruption, betrayal, and a superstar who may have finally played his quiet game one step too far. Let's start at the heart of this chaos. Aspiration Partners Inc. On paper, they were a San Francisco-based environmental company, pushing sustainability, selling a dream of green innovation, claiming they could save the planet while making billions. But behind the curtain, they were bleeding money. In December of 2022, the company was on its last breath, laying off employees left and right, gutting executives while desperately clinging to survival. And in the middle of this corporate freefall, they somehow found a way to funnel $1.75 million directly to Kawhi Leonard, money pulled straight from an investment made by Clippers minority owner Dennis J. Wong. Think about that for a second. While Aspiration employees were cleaning out their desks, while the company was circling bankruptcy, Kawhi Leonard was getting paid. For what? A no-show job. That's right. The company entered into a $28 million endorsement deal with Leonard, but according to insiders, Kawhi barely lifted a finger. No ad campaigns, no appearances, no sweat equity, just checks, massive ones, rolling into his accounts. And if that sounds shady to you, congratulations. The NBA thinks so too. Let's dig deeper. Aspiration wasn't just some random company throwing cash around. No, this company had Clippers fingerprints all over it. Steve Ballmer, the billionaire owner of the Clippers, dropped a jaw-dropping $50 million investment into Aspiration. And not long after, the Clippers themselves inked a $300 million partnership deal with the company. The timing? Just weeks after Kawhi signed his 4-year, $176 million extension with Los Angeles. Coincidence? Or carefully orchestrated? Because if you follow the money, it looks less like an endorsement and more like a side door to circumvent the NBA salary cap. The Clippers wanted Kawhi happy. They wanted him locked in. No questions, no second guessing about his loyalty. And what better way than to pump millions into a failing company that could funnel money back into Kawhi's pockets? Aspiration filed for bankruptcy this year. Their creditor list, a who's who of financial disaster. The Clippers themselves were owed around $30 million. And another company, KL2 Aspire LLC, managed by none other than Kawhi Leonard, was owed $7 million. The initials KL, the number 2, his jersey number. You can't make this stuff up. This wasn't just an endorsement gone wrong. This was a financial spiderweb, and at the center of it was Kawhi Leonard. And then came the raid. Early this morning, law enforcement stormed Kawhi Leonard's San Diego area mansion. Black SUVs rolled up. Federal agents in jackets marked FBI swarmed his property. Neighbors watched in shock as boxes of documents, computers, and even luxury items were hauled out of the home of a man known for avoiding the spotlight. Kawhi was taken into custody. Not in handcuffs like a typical suspect, but make no mistake, he was arrested. The charges? As of now, reports are swirling. But sources close to the investigation are pointing to fraud, wire conspiracy, and potential violations of NBA financial regulations. The feds don't raid unless they've got something real. And judging by the mountains of evidence they carted out of his house, Kawhi may be staring down the barrel of a case that could land him in court for years. For NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, this is a nightmare scenario. The league prides itself on transparency, on maintaining the image of its stars as global icons. But how do you spin this? One of your most marketable faces, a two-time champion, caught in a multi-million-dollar financial scandal involving his own team's ownership group. The Clippers were already under scrutiny for years. Load management controversies, injuries derailing their championship hopes, whispers of shady dealings to keep their stars satisfied. But this blows the door wide open. Silver has already said the league hired an outside firm to investigate. But now, with Kawhi in custody, with a paper trail connecting Clippers investments to Leonard's LLC, the NBA can't just investigate. They may have to ban. Think about it. If proven true, Kawhi's deal wasn't just illegal. It was a direct attempt to cheat the system, a backdoor pipeline of cash designed to dodge salary cap rules, giving the Clippers an unfair advantage over every other franchise. If the league punished Joe Smith's under-the-table deal in Minnesota with draft pick losses and fines back in the 2000s, what do you think they'll do when the star is Kawhi Leonard and the money trail stretches into the tens of millions? We're not talking fines, we're talking suspensions, we're talking voided contracts, we're talking legacy-shattering bans. And here's the craziest part. Through all of this, through the reports, the layoffs, the bankruptcy filings, the investigations, Kawhi Leonard hasn't said a word. Not a statement, not a denial, not even a nervous laugh. Silence. The same silence that once made him seem stoic, unshakable, now makes him look cold, calculating, guilty. Even LeBron James, never one to hold his tongue when it comes to controversies in the NBA, has gone completely quiet. Why? Is it because he knows this scandal is bigger than basketball? Or is it because he doesn't want to touch a story that could explode across the league like a nuclear bomb? This is the part that stings the most for fans. Kawhi Leonard built his reputation on being different. While other stars chased fame, commercials, and controversy, Kawhi stayed away. No drama, no noise, just basketball. But now, the truth is brutal. The quietest man in the NBA may have been running the loudest scam of them all. From San Antonio to Toronto to Los Angeles, fans respected Kawhi because he seemed pure, an old-school player who only cared about the game. Now, with FBI raids, bankrupt companies, and millions in suspicious payments, that image is destroyed. So what happens now? Kawhi Leonard will face questioning. His legal team will spin the story, claiming he didn't know, that he was just an innocent endorser. But the paperwork, the LLC filings, the money trail, they all say otherwise. The NBA's investigation will drop in the coming weeks, and depending on what Adam Silver sees, we could be looking at a season-long suspension for Leonard, massive fines for the Clippers, the potential stripping of draft picks, and yes, the nuclear option, banning Kawhi Leonard from the NBA. For the Clippers, this is a disaster. Their championship window was already closing. But if Kawhi goes down and the league finds Steve Ballmer complicit, the entire franchise could be forced into penalties that cripple them for a decade. And for Kawhi personally, forget basketball. We're talking federal charges, prison time, a career ending not with an injury, not with retirement, but with a scandal that rewrites how we remember him forever. The quiet superstar has been unmasked. The man of few words is now drowning in headlines. And the NBA world is left asking one haunting question. Was Kawhi Leonard ever really the hero we thought he was? Or just the mastermind of a scheme so reckless, so brazen, that it has now brought the FBI crashing down on his door? This is the fall of Kawhi Leonard. This is the scandal of the decade. And this is only the beginning. If you thought this story was wild, just wait for what comes next. The NBA's investigation is still unfolding, the courts are circling, and Kawhi's entire legacy is hanging by a thread. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Drop a comment on whether you think Kawhi is guilty or just a scapegoat. And stay tuned, because this storm is far from over. Because in today's NBA, silence isn't strength anymore, it's suspicion.
What's interesting to me is that when you put money into a startup or into any company, you are told, here is the sources of funds, here's the uses of funds. And you put in $2 million into a company, hey, what are you using it for? Are you paying down debt? Are you using it for payroll? Are you using it for research and development? Are you going to try to cure cancer? What do we got here? It would seem to me that Dennis Wong would not be shocked to hear that his money was being used to pay Kawhi. But it would be interesting to find out, in my head, is did he think that he was putting in money to save the earth? That this was the $2 million that was required to keep it going?
We ended up doing 2 rounds of layoffs. The first round was in the first week of December, where a bunch of very high-level executives got laid off. The president, the general counsel, some C-suite.
Dennis co-owns the only limited partner of the team, the Clippers, and also through his own daughter, who was witnessing the sinking of this ship firsthand, who my sources all knew as a colleague. He had several very informed ways to know quite a bit about what company he was sinking $2 million into right as Kawhi Leonard needed to be paid $1.75.
It's almost like the opposite of insider trading, right? You had the scoop to not put money in.
Yes.
Unless you weren't
Allegedly.
investing in this to make money. You were investing in this for a different reason.
The second round of layoffs, which was in the second week of December, was almost 20% of the entire staff. So about 100 people were laid off. I mean, to say it was bleak is almost an understatement.
David Sampson, former president of the Marlins, please tell us when exactly Aspiration finally does wire their months-late second payment to Kawhi Leonard.
December 15th of 2022, $1.75 million.
So this payment was made December 15th, 2022. Mm-hmm. When was the 20% of the staff laid off?
The same day.
Oh. Is it rational, is the question.
Right.
For Dennis J. Wong.
Podcast court. There you go.
To put in, coincidentally, just enough to get the most important employee of the Los Angeles Clippers paid at the scheduled date with just 9 days to go.
Now the Clippers have to explain this one too. They have to explain this investment because the 50, you tied it to 48, 28 plus 20.
And that was months between.
Mm-hmm. I could argue how you did that, but it has to be explained. This one for certain has to be explained. And I don't know how he will rationalize it, but he will have to when he meets with Wachtell.